All right, let's start creating our application. So I have gone to Xcode, File, New Project, and it's asking me to give. We are going to choose a single view application. Click Next, and then we are going to give a name. I'm going to call this iShop list. You can call whatever you want. Then the device, let's keep it universal. The language is Swift. Use core data, no, we don't need this. Organization name, your name here. Theme, I can select my app developer ID here, or you don't have one, you don't need to select anything, just click next. And I'm going to save this on my desktop. Let's also click create GitHub repository. Just it will create a GitHub repository in my local machine. Let's click create, and our application is a new project is created. Here we have some defaults of our application, the version, the build, the deployment target, etc. We're not going to do anything here. Let's close the application now, because we are going to also add our Firebase. So I'm going to go to Google and then go to console.firebase.google.com. If you are not registered in Firebase, just make sure you register it. And if you are registered, just go ahead and create a new project. And the project name, I'm going to call this again iShop list. You can call whatever you want. The country doesn't matter, I guess. I'm going to select mine and create project. This will take a few seconds to create a project for us on Firebase. Okay, our project is ready. And we are going to do the setup part. So our project is for iOS, so click on this. It will ask for iOS bundle identifier. Let's go to our Xcode and let's actually open our project. And the bundle identifier is this one. Yours will be different, so let's copy this. Go back to our bundle identifier, paste it here. App nickname is optional, AppStore ID is optional as well. So let's click register app. And this will tell us to download the Google Service Info plist file. So let's click to download it. And it's showing us that we have to put this in our project directory. So I'm going to open my folder where I downloaded it. And let's minimize our application there and open our Xcode. I'm going to drag the Google Info plist and place right under our Info plist. Make sure you click copy items if needed and click finish. So this will bring now a Google Info plist file to our project as well. So let's go back to Chrome and say continue. This part we did. And it says create a pod file, and this is telling us how to create one. I'm going to skip this part because we're going to do this together. Then we need to add a pod core of Firebase, and this part we are going to do again together. Let's click OK. And here it's showing us how to initialize the Firebase. Okay, we don't need this as well. We're going to do this together. Click finish. So our application is ready. We can go to our database. As you can see, it's an empty database right now. Authentication. Right now we don't use any authentication. Later on we are going to add user sign-in options as well. So for now we are finished with our Firebase setup online. Let's close this. And also let's close our application and let's close our folder here. Now we are going to go to the terminal, and we are going to set up our pod of our project. So in order to do this, you need to have CocoaPods installed on your computer. If you don't have, you can go Google and say how to install CocoaPods. And this will take you different options there are, but the best guide is go to CocoaPods website and install it here. So it says sudo gem install CocoaPods, and this will install the CocoaPods on your machine. So if you open the terminal, now we are going to navigate to our project location. So mine is on desktop, so I'm saying CD, which stands for change directory, and I'm going to say desktop, and if I type half of the word and hit tab, it will autocomplete if there are no any other folders of that name. Hit enter. Now we are on our desktop. We can say CD again and change directory and say iShop, and keep in mind this is case sensitive, so if I put the H capital and hit tab, there is nothing going to happen. But if I put a small letter H and hit tab, it's going to autocomplete. So right now we are in our folder directory. To make sure we are here, we can say ls, which will list all the files we have in our directory. So we have iShop, iShop Xcode project, iShop UI test. So right now we are in our iShop list directory, so we can say pod init, and this will create a pod file for us. So if I open my folder, I will see a pod file here. So let's double click on it. This will open the pod file in our text editor, and we are going to add some pods. Right here under use frameworks, let's put few enters, and let me copy the pods required and paste it here so I can explain you what's going on here. So first we say pod, and we are giving the name of the pod. Make sure these brackets here, they are straight lines. Otherwise, sometimes they are used under the angle lines, which are not accepted by the pod, CocoaPods itself. So make sure these lines are straight horizontal lines. So first we are using a Firebase database. Then we are adding the Firebase core. And since we are going to use the authentication, we are going to need also the Firebase authentication. Then we are adding the pod swipe cell keyboard kit. Let me show you what's this one. So when we swipe on our cell all the way, this is the animation like you can see in iOS email application, or if we swipe on the left, we will see another button. So this swipe cell kit will allow you to use multiple buttons on your cell. And then we have KR Progress AUD. This is Progress AUD is showing us notifications. For example, if I'm logging in, let's say I click forgot password, this is the part of Progress AUD shows the email address is empty. Or if I go to register and click sign up, it says all fields are required. So this is the part of our Progress AUD. So these are all the pods required. So let's save our pod file. I'm going to minimize this here and close our pod file. Go back to our terminal. If you have closed your terminal, you need to do CD to your folder location again. And now we can say pod install. Hit enter. This will take a few seconds. Sometimes if your internet connection is not very fast, it will take up to few minutes to download and install all the required pods that we have put it in our pod file. So let's give it a few seconds to do its job. All right, our pods are now finished installation, and as you can see, it says now that we are going to use the Xcode workspace instead of our standard app. So let's close our terminal. As you can see in our folder here, it has created the Xcode workspace. Before we had an Xcode project file. So now every time you are going to open your project, you are going to use this white logo here. So let's double click on it. Let me move my application here. All right, it will take a few seconds to index our new project. So let's open our file directory here and see if we have all our pods here. So under the pods folder, open, you can see Firebase, Firebase Analytics, Authentication, Core, etc. And we can see our KR Progress HUD and Swipe Kit. So it means all our required pods were installed successfully. So in our next lecture, we are going to start building our application.